Hey guys, so today is going to be an interesting comparison. It's a very highly debated topic among gun people these days. We got the 308 versus the 6.5 Creedmoor. And with the 308, I got the 178 grain ELD-X. The Creedmoor is the 143 ELD-X. And the Creedmoor is going to be shooting factory ammo. The 308, I have some hand loads. They're just loaded with a max load of Varget. I'm not loading them hot to give the 308 any advantage. I just chronographed all of them with my new V3 chronograph, and with the 6.5 they were averaging 26.15. 308 was averaging 26.25, so very similar velocities. So we'll see how these two rounds compare. 308's a little bit heavier. Some people like to say the 6.5 could penetrate just as much because of the higher sectional density and all that. I don't really want to start getting into my opinions. I'd rather just shoot the gel and let the results speak for themselves. Alright, so I did the 308 first. Now the second block got a little bit soft on me. It's going bad, so it's not the correct density, but this first block is the correct density. And the bullet stopped right there in this second block. So we got a 16-inch block and a 12-inch block, so that's 28 inches of gel. And this bullet, there's maybe 3/4 of an inch left, so like 27 inches of penetration. But since the back block isn't the correct density, it might have been less if everything was correct. Now these blocks are all shot up, so you can't really see the wound track that good. Blew out the one side of the gel. I had the block sitting this way, so I did hit it kind of dead center, but a little bit to the left. I did that on purpose because I want to hit the 6.5 right here. So you can see, very big wound channel. Definitely sucks the gel's not the greatest clarity at the moment. I'm going to have to, redo this test at a later date with two perfect blocks. But since I had the gel already, I wasn't going to make new gel and this one was still good. So I'm going to spin the block around, shoot the other way with the Creedmoor, and then later on when I get home, I can cut some sections and actually look internally so you can get a better idea of the wound path. Alright, so 6.5, and I don't know what happened that this is even possible. Now, there's a bullet sitting right here on the ground. Now looking at the base of that, that is definitely the 6.5. So, I'm going to put that down over here for a sec. So, the gel block was like this. Now, this shitty ass scope on this gun kept moving my point of impact. Tried to sight it in good, didn't really work. So it was about 3 inches down and right. So I aimed up over here, clipped the side here. Now clearly did some good damage. Definitely less than the 308 though. It's kind of hard to see both of them. Like I said, I'll have to cut the block in half later to get a good comparison. So I came here, swerved up, and what I did was put a water jug in the back just in case it penetrated through that block. I also put one of these back here just for safety. I had some empties sitting at the house, figured maybe I'd shoot them. Well, you know, the 308's still sitting in there, so this block was like this. So that bullet came out here, went in here, and then somehow ended up back over there. I do not know how that happened. I mean, you'd think maybe if it bounced off of something, but I don't even see a ding in any of this. It was still standing up. I don't see any marks in this. So, kind of an inconclusive test. I was kind of hoping I'd catch that bullet. Maybe we could see which one penetrated further, but we did not. So, I have to do this another day with a better set of gel blocks. You know, I might take one more shot at this, but it's just going to start falling apart at this point, and it's not really an even comparison. So before heading home, I decided to take one more shot with the 308, and I was using a cavity back bullet. It's the same bullets I like to use with my 6.8 and the Wildcat, the 270 MSR, but this is for the 308. It's a tipped 168 grain MKZ bullet, so it peels back with the same 3 petals. This back block, since it's pretty much garbage, I figured I'd blow that up. I had a water jug, so I put that behind that block, hoping it would slow the bullet down enough that it wouldn't really go into this block that I shot with the 6.5 and the 308 originally. And the block that was a little too soft got blown apart. It went right through the water jug, and then on the top of the gel, you know, the 6.5 came through this way and exited the top here. This bullet entered here, zipped all the way through, and came at the top over here, so I did not catch it. There's a little piece of copper there, a little piece of copper there. I'm guessing maybe either whole petals or part of the petals fell off, but I just wanted to catch one of those to see what they look like in the 308. So somewhere in that dirt berm is the bullet. I'll look around and see if I can find it, but I doubt I will. Hey guys, so now that I'm back home, I'm going to cut up the gel so you can get a better look at the wound channel, since it's not exactly the clearest gel. Here are the bullets here. The 308 right here on the right. This one is a perfect mushroom, nice and round, where the 6.5 didn't peel back, you know, perfect all the way around. The one side mushroom nice and round, and then, you know, this side it's kind of just sticking out. So I think this is why it veered out of the gel. This is the 6.5, you know, wound channel here, and then it came out of the top of the gel. I took that one last shot with the cavity back MKZ because I was really hoping I could just catch it. I figured the other block would have slowed it down enough that it would just hit this block and stop, but it just zipped on through this block. You can see this tiny little wound channel in here. It was from that bullet. And that bullet actually exited here. I think there's actually a piece of the petal in here. And then this is the exit from the 308. 308, you know, I spun the block around, so 308 came in from this side here and blew this side out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, you know, 3 inches in on either side so you can see what the bullet was doing at that 3-inch mark. And a 6.5 you could see a little bit better since it hit the side of that gel. I mean, pretty much no neck, and that, you know, permanent wound channel is about, I would say, 10 inches. The 308, it's kind of hard to tell just because where it hit the block is so dirty. So let me take a cut out of each side and I'll get back to you. Okay, so we'll start the 6.5 side. This is 3 inches with the bullet coming out towards you. This is the 6.5, and this was the 308 when it exited. Stand this up and get a little bit of light through it, get a better idea. So the 3-inch mark, that 6.5 wound channel, got about 3 inches wide. And then this is going into the rest of the block, so I got the 308 coming out here, 6.5 here, and then that cavity back was kind of in the, I think it's up in the right here where it zipped on through. You can see a tiny little wound channel. Now this side, this is the beginning of the block. So this is where the 308 hit. This is where the cavity back hit after going through the other 12-inch block and a half-gallon jug of water. So when you flop this down, cavity back pretty much lost all of its velocity at that point. Right here you can see the wound channel from the cavity back, and then obviously the 308. So here is the 308, 3 inches coming at you, and this wound channel is about 4 inches wide, so it's a little bit bigger than the 6.5. Now I'm going to cut the block right in half, and we'll see, right at the 6-inch mark, 1.5 would actually be 8 inches in, and we'll see what the wound channels look like there. Alright, so this is the middle of the gel. Now the 308 was coming from this side, going into this side, and then the 6.5 was opposite. So this is the entry side, this was the exit side. This baby little tract here is from that cavity back bullet, so it really didn't, get in the way of either of these wound tracks. So looking here, I mean, the 308 definitely was doing more damage. This way it's about 3 inches, but this way you're looking still at about 4 inches or so. It's about 2 this way and maybe 3 with the 6.5. Now 6.5 obviously hit the side and blew the side out, so if it was dead center like the 308 kind of was, it might have been a little bit more devastating. But overall, the 308 looks like it did better. It penetrated right to the 27-inch mark. The 6.5, when I was reviewing the slow-mo, went out of this block, right at the top edge, and then I'm guessing it veered because of the way that the bullet is shaped. And as it got to the top edge of that block, the second block, it hit the top edge and kind of rolled up out. When I've seen before, the bullets bounce back in the gel a little bit. The elasticity of the gel will actually push the bullet back about a half an inch or so. So I'm guessing since the bullet was kind of out of steam, that's what happened. But since it was already halfway out of the gel, instead of just springing back in the gel, it actually sprung back to land. Right where the front of the block was is where it landed. So it came through and then sprung back. It's the only thing I can think of. It didn't bounce off of the water jug or anything. In the slow-mo, you can kind of see it, but unfortunately, when the gel got blown out of the side, it knocked the camera over. But I'll put a freeze frame in that so you guys can see it. Alright, so I got the bullets inside now so we can do some measurements. I already weighed both of these, and they were 66% weight retention on each of them, but I forget the exact numbers, so we'll weigh them again. Here is the 6.5 Creedmoor. The lead doesn't really want to stay in the jacket, even though it came out together in the gel. So this one is 94.1. And then for our 308, got 117.3. So it's kind of rare that you get, perfect 66% with 2 bullets shot into the gel. Now for our measurements for the width, so we have a max expansion here on the 6.5 at 0.0703. Nice. And then this way we got 0.586. And then with our 308, 0.577, and 0.5. So 308's a little bit more uniform all around. So I didn't really want to say anything before. I just wanted to shoot the gel, but I'm going to say something real quick about sectional densities. And sectional density is the ratio of the weight of the bullet to the width of the bullet, before it's fired. But obviously, once you fire it, the bullet's going to lose weight and deform, so it doesn't always hold true. And this is kind of a good example. The 6.5 has a higher sectional density than the 308 because it's a skinnier bullet, but here the 6.5 opened up wider. So in this fired form, after the gel, 6.5 is wider, but it's also lighter, which would give it a worse sectional density. So there's never really a given when you're shooting lead bullets. They always do different things, and the biggest thing really is the impact velocity. So anyway, the next test I do with these, I will I'll try to get some pork shoulders or something and do another test, maybe back up a little bit further, get some distance in between them. But overall, it was still a good test. So thank you guys, and until next time.